Hey everyone, welcome back to the Incredible India podcast series. I'm Tim.
I'm Debbie.
Today, we're taking a bit of a journey, a deep dive really, into South India.
That's right. We're exploring the Golden Triangle of Chola World Heritage Temples.
And our info for this comes mainly from 5 census tours.
Yeah, think of this as your quick guide to getting up to speed on these, well, really significant sites, historically and architecturally.
We're talking about a pretty powerful empire.
Right, absolutely. And we'll look at the temples, the details, and even hear from people who have actually, visited them on these tours.
Exactly. So the mission here is to pull out the really fascinating bits about the temples and the Chola Empire.
Give you a real sense of why they matter, their beauty, but without, getting totally bogged down in every single detail.
Okay, so let's start with this golden triangle idea. In this context, it's not like a geographical shape exactly.
No, not really. It's more of a thematic grouping. It refers to three specific UNESCO World Heritage sites.
Okay, which ones?
Tanjore, Darasuram, and Gangaikonda Cholapuram. And the key thing is, each one was a capital of the Chola Empire at some point.
Ah, right. So visiting them gives you a kind of overview of Chola power and art.
Precisely. A really comprehensive look, actually.
The Chola Empire. People might have heard the name, but what really made them stand out?
Well, they were dominant mostly between the 10th and 12th centuries. A huge part of their power was their maritime strength.
Maritime, so like a strong navy.
Yeah, a very strong navy. They controlled trade routes, had influence across parts of Southeast Asia. It was a big deal.
So when we talk about these temples, we're really stepping back
Well,
1,000 years.
pretty much, yeah. 1,000 years into a really influential period in Indian history.
Okay, so the first stop in this triangle, Tanjore, and the Brihadeswar Temple.
That's the one. The huge, magnificent Brihadeswar Temple in Tanjore, built a millennium ago
Wow,
by the great Chola king, Raja Chola. He's sometimes called Panyan Selvan, son of the river, a really iconic figure in Tamil culture.
1,000 years old. What makes this temple so special? I mean, beyond his age.
Oh, it's genuinely considered one of India's greatest architectural creations. It's massive, for one.
Right.
And the source material we looked at had this great description, calling it sculptor's dream, a historian's mind, a dancer's vision, and a sociologist's scoop.
That covers a lot. Historians' minds. What does that mean practically? What can historians find there?
Well, the temple walls, the pillars, they're covered in inscriptions.
Written records.
Exactly, carved in stone. They tell us about Chola administration, their military campaigns, who patronized the arts, social life, religious practices. It's an incredible primary source.
And I think I read something about a big anniversary for it recently.
You did, yeah. The temple, sometimes just called the Tanjore Big Temple, it celebrated its 1,000th birthday back in 2010.
Incredible.
And it's just this prime example of everything Chola, the architecture, the sculpture, bronze casting, even painting. Their engineering skills must have been phenomenal.
Just to build something on that scale that lasts.
Yes, exactly.
Now, Tanjore isn't just the temple, is it? There's a palace mentioned too.
That's right, yeah, the Tanjore Palace. It was actually built later, though, during the Nayak period.
Oh, okay. Not Chola then.
Not originally Chola, no. And then the Marathas did some renovations later on, but it's still a really interesting feature.
Like what?
There's the Queen's Courtyard, a Durbar Hall with these amazing wall paintings showing scenes from Hindu epics.
Oh, cool.
There's even talk of a legendary underground passage, plus a royal museum, an art gallery, and the Saraswati Mahal Library.
That library sounds important.
It really is. It holds a massive collection of ancient manuscripts, a real treasure trove.
Okay, let's move to the second point of the triangle. Darasuram. What's the main attraction there?
Darasuram is home to the Airateswar Temple. That's our second major Chola site on this tour.
Dedicated to Shiva, like the Brihadeswar.
Yes, also dedicated to Lord Shiva. This one was built a bit later, in the 12th century AD, by Chola King Raja II.
And it's also a UNESCO site.
It is indeed another UNESCO World Heritage Site, which tells you something about its cultural value.
It gets called a treasure trove, I saw. Why that description?
Well, it's just packed with art, carvings, and architectural detail. The density and the sheer quality of the ornamentation is stunning.
So lots of intricate work.
Everywhere. Carvings of myths, dancers, musicians, animals, even scenes from daily life back then. The craftsmanship is just, yeah, Breathtaking.
Airateswar, that name stands out. Any story behind it?
There is, actually. It's linked to Airavat,
Airavats.
the white elephant, the mount of Lord Indra in Hindu mythology.
Oh.
Legend has it that Airavat himself worshipped Lord Shiva right there at that spot. So the temple gets its name from him. Adds a layer of myth to it.
Interesting. Okay, final stop. Gangaikonda Cholapuram. That name sounds significant.
It absolutely is. Gangaikonda Cholapuram, the city itself, was established around 1025 AD by Rajendra Chola. He was the son of Raja Chola, the builder of the Tanjore Temple.
Okay, the next generation.
Exactly. And the name, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, it literally means something like the town of the Chola who conquered the Ganges.
Wow. So it commemorates a military victory.
Precisely. His victories over the Pala Empire, way up in the Ganges region, it was a major statement of Chola power expanding northwards.
So Rajendra Chola was just as powerful as his father then.
Oh, definitely. He's considered one of the most powerful Indian kings of his era. And remember that navy we mentioned?
Yeah.
Rajendra Chola commanded this really formidable navy in the 11th century. It wasn't just for show. It protected and expanded their trade all across Southeast Asia. Huge economic power.
And this city, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, it took over as the capital.
It did, yeah. It replaced Tanjore as the main Chola capital and stayed that way for about 250 years.
Quarter of a millennium.
Right. And naturally, its centerpiece is another magnificent Shiva temple.
As grand as the one in Tanjore.
Maybe not quite as towering in height, but it has its own distinct architectural style, equally beautiful and full of intricate work. Some say it's even more refined in some ways.
The source called it the lost city of the Cholas. What else is there besides the temple?
Well, you can still see remnants of the royal palace. Interestingly, it was made of burnt brick, which tells us something about their building materials.
Right.
And there's a huge Nandi statue, Shiva's bull mount, and also this really impressive lion figure near a well.
A lion near a well.
Yeah, and the story goes that the water poured into that well was actually water brought all the way back from the Ganges River by Rajendra Chola after his conquests.
As a symbol of the victory.
Exactly, a very powerful symbol.
Okay, so you could obviously explore these places on your own, but the Five Senses Tours material really emphasizes getting a guide. What's the benefit there?
Well, a good local guide just adds so much depth, you know? They can explain the context, how the Chola kingdom worked, the temple rituals, what the sculptures actually mean.
Decode the symbolism.
Right, and explain the specific features of the Dravidian architecture you see there. It just turns looking at old buildings into understanding a whole civilization.
Makes sense. And it was good to see that Five Senses Tours mentions supporting local communities, too.
Yeah, that's a nice aspect. They make a point of hiring local guides, using local services and goods. So the tourism money hopefully benefits the people living near these incredible sites.
Right, sustainable tourism. Now, to give listeners a flavor of what the tour might actually feel like, we've got some comments from people who've done it, haven't we? From TripAdvisor.
We do, yeah. Let's see. Okay, here's one from Raja S., who went in January 2025. He said, "The crew of Five Senses were amazing. They were attentive to every detail, knowledgeable." And he specifically mentioned his guide Jainath and driver Ramesh.
So, good service, knowledgeable people. Sounds positive.
Yeah, seems like it. Then there's Sanjeev L., also from January 2025. He called his guides, Jarman and Ramesh, very well informed, respectful, and caring.
Caring, that's a nice touch.
And he added they even changed things around to fit specific requests. So flexible, too.
Good to know. The guides seem really key.
Definitely. Here's another one from December 2023 by someone called Bongs. They did a 2-day tour.
Okay.
They called their guide Satish remarkable and said they felt like they were transported 1,000 years back to the time when Cholas were the dominant empire.
Wow, that's quite the endorsement. Transported back in time.
Isn't it? They specifically mentioned being awestruck by the scale of the Tanjore Temple and the sculptures at the other two sites. Really highlights that historical immersion.
Yeah, you can almost picture it. Okay, maybe one more.
Sure. Pooja and Kushbajaj, they visited in May 2023. What's interesting is they said they were inspired to go after watching the movie Ponniyin Selvan.
Oh, the film based on the books about Raja Chola.
Exactly. And they praised their guide, Mr. Cannon, for explaining all the intricate details of the temples they would have missed otherwise.
Details you just wouldn't notice on your own.
Right. And they also liked that the tour included trying some local food. A nice touch.
Okay, so wrapping this up. This golden triangle, these three Chola temples, Tanjore, Darasuram, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, they really offer an incredible window, don't they?
Absolutely. A window into this amazingly powerful, artistically rich empire from 1,000 years ago.
The scale, the detail, you see why they're UNESCO sites, and it
Right.
speaks volumes about India's history.
It really does. They're not just stones, they're proof of the Cholas' achievements. Their art, their architecture, their maritime reach, their whole cultural impact, it's tangible history.
So if listening to this has sparked your interest, if you want to see this incredible history for yourself,
Yeah, you can contact Five Senses Tours directly. You can send an email to contact@fivesensestours.com. That's the numeral 5 in the email address.
okay, contact at fivecentestours.com.
Or you can call or send a WhatsApp message. The number is +91 984 56 77446.
Got it. +91 984 56 77446. So as a final thought then, imagine standing there in front of these immense structures built by people a whole millennium ago. What stories do you think the stones themselves would whisper if you could just listen closely enough?